One of the challenges of making this series is figuring out what to do for each day. Because I have a list of things I want to talk about, and that will be talked about. It's just knowing for a particular day, which topic would I like to tackle. And I mainly go by vibes, so whatever I'm feeling that aligns with whatever topic is on the list, that's usually what I'd go for. Um, Today was a little difficult though because a lot of them worked today. Like I could talk about a lot of them because I was feeling it. I was expecting one outcome of having Doc around to talk. We'll have that, just not today. So okay, what should I do? And as I was looking through the list, I saw something that I think could be exhibited pretty well. So we're gonna talk about it. Also, look at this setting. Like, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's something I just found today. Me, Doc, and another friend of mine. We found this place. Or I was asking them, do you know any, pretty, quiet and a little scenic places I could. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but there's some music going on. Like chimes, bells, and it's fitting. It's giving like Christmas celebratory village vibe. But yeah, I found this place today. Super gorgeous. Wouldn't have found it otherwise if it weren't for the series. So, but it's like this little bench area. It has little canopy again, but this time there's like vines and flowers and plants of the sort kind of growing around the posts, and it's like it's it's so nice. And the lighting here, I was expecting it to be like the lighting would be poor because of when it gets dark, and if there isn't any lighting, it was gonna be hard to film. But there's this nice little ground light right here. You can see it on my face, and it looks really nice, and it's showing off the plants too. Oh my goodness. I will say there are some strollers, little people around, which makes me a little self-conscious, but honestly worth for the vibes. Like, look at this. But today I wanted to talk about being yourself no matter what. And you've heard this a bunch of times before. People are always preaching, oh, you gotta just be yourself and everything will work itself out. But it's not easy. I'm sure a lot of us know it's not easy letting your authentic self be out there, because it's more likely than not isn't considered normal. And when you're yourself, like your weirder sides of you gleam through, and people see it, it can, it may result in judgment or, being outcasted, being not accepted into the group, if you want to put it in a social science standpoint. And that's our evolutionary trait, it's we're just made to be social animals. So it's very important for us to fit in when we can, because it used to be for survival. Now, it's very important to have a group of people, but it's not like, a survival. You don't need it to survive. You don't need it to thrive, right? And yet we still have that anxiety within us to conform in a way that lets you be accepted into the pack or whatever. And yeah, you don't want to be like ostracized for who you actually are. It hurts a lot, and all we want is to be accepted and loved. So, why am I bringing this up? Even though it's incredibly difficult, people preach it a lot. I'm telling you right now to be yourself, because it's well worth any judgment you may face from it. It's incredibly exhausting to live behind a mask of a version of yourself that you present to others versus who you really are, because again, you're kind of like playing an act, and at some point, it takes more effort to keep up that act rather than settle into what you naturally think, what you naturally feel, how you are as a person, and being authentic. I've been there, trust. It's something I do for, I have, student Lauren, right? They're pretty quiet in class, trying to just focus whenever possible. Pretend I know things. Trying to fit in, everyone else in class seems to know this, so I'm just gonna not ask questions and be think I'm good at whatever we're learning. And not great, not the best learning mindset to have, but it's just something that I've done. That stemmed from childhood. I was rewarded for just because elementary stuff, elementary, middle, high school, those are all those click pretty fast for me, so I could understand topics pretty well and generally didn't have to ask questions. And people always they push that idea of oh, Lauren, you're so smart. I was some sort of genius or whatever, and I'm well, I have to live up to their expectations now, so I guess gotta keep doing that. And if you want to dig even further into it, being rewarded for just being quiet and doing the work, that's been ingrained since kindergarten. We know the infamous story of basically it was my first day of kindergarten, so first day of actually being in a classroom with people or kids my age and being in a educational setting, so having a teacher and all that. And we were learning how to write letters, so capital A, lowercase a, capital B, stuff like that. And the teacher was projecting it onto the board on the Elmo and just tracing out the dotted line. And as she was talking, I was like, what? I'm kind of bored. I need something to do. So that I'll start humming the Angry Birds theme song, because I was really into Angry Birds during the time. And guess what? I got in trouble for it. I don't know. I guess it was disruptive to the class. So she was like, Lauren, you get it? Whoever's humming that, you get a yellow card. And here's the card system. All the students had a card. So everyone would start a green card, which means like good behavior. Yellow card's like not great, like, a warning of, gotta fix that behavior up a bit. And then red card was, you're really in trouble if you get a red card. So I was the first person in my class to get a yellow card, just for, being myself and being all whimsical and humming. Like, I was still doing the work, and yet I got in trouble for it still. So there was a first and meaningful strike to how my personality developed in school after that. Like, oh, okay, be quiet and do work and don't say anything. Okay. And unfortunately, it has worked for basically my entire school career. I don't know. College is a bit different though, because it's kind of the opposite. They encourage you to be, inquisitive, curious, and express your ideas. So, trying to learn that. It's a work in progress, but I am better than how I was before. So, there's that. I guess it's the most potent example of it. There's also like personal life. As you get, as a kid, you don't really care what other people think. So for me, I just, I did whatever I wanted to. Talked about my interests, watched what I wanted to, played what I wanted to play with, had ideas, and did whatever. If I wanted to draw, I'll draw. If I wanted to play with my friends, I'll play with my friends. Stuff of the sort. As you get older, though, you start to become more aware socially of, like, what is the trend, what is something that'll get me to be liked by other people, what is something that'll ostracize me from other people. And you don't even tend to, for the most part, but you do start to see yourself conform into whatever society wants you to be. Been there. And, haven't found a solution to it yet, but what I can say is when I just was myself, it created a lot more genuine experiences and connections in my life. It's scarier, don't get me wrong, but it was well worth it compared to, again, hiding behind something, hiding who I was. Because, when you're yourself, it's easier to be comfortable in your own skin. The only person that you really know how to be is yourself. For my case, anyways. Like, I could try to pretend to be someone else, but it's not gonna feel right. Something's gonna feel off. I'm gonna struggle to keep up that facade. And eventually, we're gonna revert back to how I was before, of who I truly am. I tend to do it. It takes time to get me to open up and show myself like that. Because, like, say I'm first meeting a new person or a new group of people, I'm going to be a little more reserved. Because I don't know how they're gonna respond to how I actually am, which is quite a specimen, very different thoughts compared to other people, different interests, not super into following the norm. Once I open up, it's like you get a lot of yapping like this. Um, very emotional, very sensitive person who looks like they know what they're doing. I really don't know what I'm doing. But you get to see more of that. You get to see more of that real side. And it's also a sign of me being more comfortable around someone. As I start to develop and become more comfortable with someone, I become more comfortable being myself around them because I know, or at least I hope, that they won't judge me. Being yourself is filming in public. I wonder how I look. I've been doing a lot of rambling. This idea, of course, I want to follow the notion of being myself, as we all should. At least as I hope we all strive to be, but it was inspired from an old friend of mine. I was looking, you may know them as Instant, the OGs would know. The question was, what would you want your past self to know? And his answer was, don't change yourself for nothing and no one. And it was it was a fun way to put it, but thinking about it more deeply, I was like, that's a really good message to give yourself and to anyone, really. Do and be someone that you want to be and who you are. Because at the end of the day, you really only have yourself. It's a little morbid, but when you're on your deathbed, the only person who's guaranteed to be with you for your entire life is gonna be you. People will come and go, but you'll always have yourself. So it's better to be comfortable in who you are, be comfortable in sharing your true self to the world, and have that authenticity when living life. I miss him. But I want to follow something like that too. And this year I've tried to be more myself and gotten good results from it. The friends I have right now and the people I keep close, they stick around because I am me, not for who I pretend to be. And those are some special connections you can have. Someone who sees you for who you are and chooses to stay because of it. And to be loved is to be seen. So there's that. On the other end of the spectrum, when you're yourself, when you're being your authentic self, you attract people who are genuinely into who you are as a real person. Because when you're wearing a mask, the people you attract are going to be people who like the mask, not who you are behind it. Whereas if you're already showing yourself, your real self, and people come to you for that, now that's how you know they're going to stay around for you and not for who you pretend to be. And that's how I found some of my closest friends. So, I don't know, try it out sometime if you haven't already. Being yourself and having others see that, and maybe the right people will come along. There's not much to say. It's a simple sentiment of being yourself. It's easier said than done. I will tell you that much. So, in practice, you really gotta just bit by bit show who you are, what you're genuinely thinking, how you're feeling, your likes. Like, if you're super into something, let that be known. You're gonna find people who are also into this thing, and then there's a bonding experience right there. And, it also just makes you happier too. You're being authentic, you are living to your values, you are not living under someone else or whatever society tells you to be. You have autonomy and individuality, and what you contribute into the world is something only you can do, and no one can take that from you. They can try to replicate it, but it's never going to be how you do it. Every aspect of what you do is essentially and uniquely yours. I think that's cool. Like, I guess I'll use myself as an example. There's not going to be another person who, let's say, thinks the way I do, or thinks about things the way I do, or has the same exact interests as me, or goes about, thinking and processing emotions like me, or expressing my personality. Like, I'm a goofy little guy, but the way I express it is different than how other people may present themselves. We may be similar, but we're not the same. And I think that's cool. Like, something only you can bring to the table that can't be replicated anywhere else or by anyone else is something truly special. And I want to do that as much as I can, my kindness especially. I want to put that out into the world, and my positivity and creative endeavors and thoughts, ideas. I want to put that out there so they'll know who I am, and they can remember me by that, by who I was. So, yeah. I'll pull it up if I can, but if not, it's okay. But I saw this reel on Instagram. It was on my art account, so a lot of them is like art related. And the post was like, art is the only thing that is 100% reliant on you. It depends on you to survive. And that really touched me. Like, from an artist's standpoint, this is true. Like, logistically speaking, your art would not be alive if you weren't there to make it. If you weren't there to have those ideas and put it out into a certain medium and have it become tangible. And again, the thoughts, like, if you didn't come up with those ideas, like, would it exist in the first place? And the way you express them is uniquely you as well. So whatever finished piece you have resulted with, that is completely and 100% all you, baby. It would not have been here without you. It is completely in existence because it depends on you. And I was like, wow. I love art. But also, that can be applied to a lot of things, right? The relationships people have with you, they wouldn't have that if you weren't around and being who you are. The education you have, let's say, because I'm in college, so we'll bring that up. it's you have the knowledge you have because you put in the effort to learn said topics, but also you've experienced the things you have in your life, or you've experienced the things you had in your life, the unique life experiences you've had, and that accumulated into your head, and that transformed into how you think as a person, and the knowledge you base future decisions on. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty dang cool. So, yeah. Be yourself. Be yourself because there's no one else who can be you. And that's a fact. You're the only person that can be you and express things the way you want, have the same interests you have the same outlooks on life as you do. You're the only person who is a combination of all those things and those experiences, and it's up to you to spread that or at least live it to the fullest, because no one else can. So yeah, like no one else can be Lauren filming this video filming these rambling thoughts about life and whatever, being 18. Even me, future me, like no one you can't be 18-year-old me again. But that's why I'm putting this out there for you, so you know what it was like, what I was thinking during this time in my life, or in your life too, I guess. But yeah, be so yourself. Everyone else wants to be themselves too. That's something I strive to be. Just be so authentic, so true to yourself, that you inspire others to be like comfortable in expressing themselves too. One day I'll get there, but we'll keep working on it. And yeah, if you are being yourself right now, that is me living through you too. That is the people who love you living through you because you decided to be yourself. We are a mosaic of everyone we've ever loved. So, on top of who you are at your core, you are also the experiences and the love you've received throughout your life. So, use that, cultivate that, and bring that to the table. And just make the world a more genuine place. And yeah. Also, shout out, this might be its own video, it might not, but you know, I had a friend of mine come up to me today to ask, and this is like a more recent friend, so we're still getting to know each other, but she came up to me and asking me about what I was working on and all that, and then she brought up the question of hey, what are your pronouns, by the way? And I'm like, oh, let's go. That's how you know, like, that's how I know I'm around the right people. People who ask that, already amazing in my mind. But another opportunity came about where I got to be myself and show people more of the more real me. Like, hey, I do use they, them. You're so right. That's who I am. And they take that information, do with what they will, If you're being yourself, that's all you really need to do. Whatever people think, that's on them. But of course, for her, she was, super accepting of me, and changed it. She's like, Gonna use those from now on. And I was like, how'd you know? To ask. And she was like, you know, a little bit of looks, right? But also just vibes, how I am. And how I behave as just being myself. I'm like, oh my goodness. Full circle moment. But yeah. That's what I'm saying. Be yourself. It may be hard, and sometimes people will try to force you to be something you're not. Safety first, obviously, but when you can, defy those constraints society puts on to you, and show your true colors. Be vibrant, as vibrantly you as you can, and good things will come from there. More good comes from being yourself than not. So, yeah. Alright. I'm probably gonna head home now, though. Good talk. I'll catch you in the next one. And I love you. Also, check this out. Oh, I got the stand from Doc, by the way, or this tripod, so shout out to him. Look at this. Love is the answer. Like, the sign is saying so, guys, so I think we should follow the sign and do it. We should follow the sign, follow the rules. It's the only way to live, right? Alright, but love is the answer. So, bye-bye.